Women up, women up,
Woman up.
women up, women up. I miss a W to the O to the MAN. The Woman Up Show for empower women. A safe space to learn and to dream big.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Woman Up. Today, we are unplugging for mental wellness, but after the show. So watch it first and then unplug because we're gonna have a wonderful discussion with none other than Shantae Hamilton. And when she comes on the screen, she's gonna introduce herself and everything. Now, for those of you who are just tuning in, you just found out about the Woman Up community. We are a community of young women and young girls who want to inspire and educate other young women and young girls. We want to teach you how to navigate womanhood, especially in the 21st century, because we know it's not easy. We know it's not easy, and so we're here to help. What I love about our community is that nobody knows it all, we don't know it all. But one of the things that we do is that we speak, we talk to each other, and we connect, and we learn and grow with each other. And I think that's one of the most beautiful things about Woman Up. But right now, I'm going to invite to our little virtual stage, Miss Shantae. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to talk about digital detoxes today.
Yes, look here. First of all, you all know how my process is. I am a marketer by profession, so I'm always just looking around on my social and looking at who's who in the space, and Miss Shantae is one of them. The digital
Oh,
content queen herself. um
yes.
when I saw this topic, I thought that you would be the perfect person to talk about it. So I think I want to kick the discussion off with what you think personally, Shantae, digital detox is and why it's important for mental health.
Okay, so for me as a digital marketer and just a marketing practitioner, I've been in the space for a while. I've been doing digital marketing for at least 8 years. And so within that time, I've had a lot of experience of like being glued to my screen to make money. Like, because we're not just glued to our screen because we want to have a good time. We have people who don't do digital marketing, don't do marketing, don't do nothing with social media. And so because of that, they can kind of unplug when they feel like. But as a digital marketer, it's been super important for me. And I know even you, Aishiba, all of us will have to find some way to kind of disconnect or we'll go crazy. And so just a digital detox, I feel like is super important. And not even just for me as a marketing practitioner, but for young women. I think it's super important for young women not to get sucked into, all of the, like, the internet can be a great place, but it can also be a toxic place. To get sucked into all of the different things that are happening, it can be super overwhelming. So I absolutely suggest that at least if you can do once a month, that would be amazing. But every once in a while, you should aim to just get away from your devices. Like, that's literally what a digital detox means to me. It means you're getting away from platforms. It might not mean you're not using your cell phone at all or your whatever at all, but you're getting away from just the noise of everything that's present in the digital landscape, in the, platforms, on the space.
I love how you explain that. Pretty straightforward and exactly what it is. And we talk about it all the time, like just tuning in online, like every single day, every minute of the day. It can be so draining. And people might say I'm biased because I always have a lot of like creatives and marketers on the show. But for this one, guys, for this one, it is so important because truly, if you understand the world of a digital marketer, sometimes it's like you can never be offline. Like that's the job. You get
Yeah.
me? And it's crazy because you'd be working on brands for other people, and when it's time to go on your social media, it's like you just don't even bother want to. It's like, oh,
Tired.
brother, I'm tired of this.
But, yeah, facts.
No, man. So I think what I want to know from you, and I think you can talk about maybe like your personal life and what's been happening with you, but what are some signs that somebody definitely need to take a digital detox?
Okay, so there are several signs, and a lot of these signs actually do affect, well, clearly there are signs, but the fact that it affects your health, like your physical health, your mental health. Like there are little things that are actually made a little note of the things that you should. And so here's what I have for you. So like if you feel like you are increasingly restless, you feel like you're always having to do something, you feel like you need to be on the go, on the go, on the go, chances are you're glued to your phone, you're seeing a lot of things happening on your phone, and in your brain it's like it's saying, yo, what am I doing? Why am I not? I'm not doing enough. And so, just that feeling of restlessness that comes from using your device is absolutely a sign that you might need to take a step back from your devices. Also, just difficulty finishing tasks. And we know how that go. Like, especially me. Like, I'm even just going to use myself as an example. Again, as a digital marketer, I do have to be on Instagram. I do have to be on, social media. I have to be in my emails. I have to be doing all of the things. And so I'll be doing a task and then I post like a comment coming and, I'm on Instagram. And so I will switch what I'm doing to go over to the comment to make sure, because it might be on a client's brand. It might be, or even my own brand. And I want to make sure that I'm, on top of things. And so that keeps you on your device and you break your focus from the thing you are initially doing. And so if you find yourself, breaking your focus from things like just generally, even if it's not to check your phone, but your attention span is like zero when it comes to finishing a task, chances are you've been doing too much. You've been on, your screen, you've been on social media too much. You need to take a little break and kind of just widen the attention span, because we cannot keep it in the 30-second, right? It's not Instagram. Life is not Instagram. People don't have conversations in like a minute and a half. Like people have long conversations. And so yeah. So if you find it difficult to finish a basic task, maybe it's time to unplug. If you find yourself neglecting responsibilities, like that's a huge one. If you find yourself not wanting to do things because you want to check your TikTok or because you want to, scroll, if you find yourself not being productive and kind of just skirting your responsibilities, chances are you need to kind of just take a step back and reevaluate. And then one of the mental and physical health things that you can look out for when it comes to too much screen time is just a lack of sleep. And it's funny because a lot of us, and I've tried to cut this out personally, a lot of us, to relax, to decompress after the day, we reward ourselves by scrolling TikTok, by scrolling Instagram. I know all too well because I've been thinking too long. I don't want to think. I just want you to tell me things. And so yeah, scroll. But then you're scrolling in your bed. Like when it's 10 o'clock, you're scrolling when it's bedtime. You're saying, okay, cool, bedtime is 11. It's 2 o'clock. You still there. That is us. That will affect your sleep. Like it will literally affect your sleep. The quality of sleep that you have when you're glued to a screen right before you close your eyes is much different from the quality of sleep you get when you kind of just take time to decompress. Like maybe you put on your phone an hour before bed and decompress. The quality of sleep is different in both those scenarios. So if you feel yourself like getting, other than the fact that you dip on your phone when you need fast sleep, but if you do find that when you do go to sleep, it's hard for you to go to sleep, the quality, you're tired when you wake up, it might just be, you're just doing too much on your screen. Your brain is not getting time to like, just, shut down before it goes into dream mode. And so all of that just go out the window. And for me, I'm thinking that those are the things that come to me. And also just based on my own little research and me personally, like those are the things that I think are like the top signs that you need to kind of just step back. What do you think, Aishiba? I miss nothing, or do you feel how?
Me not have time for know if you miss nothing, Shantae. Me just know say, yeah, throw your word at me. That's all. Me just a sit down and I say. You understand me? But
Girl, I'm throwing my words at myself, I promise.
those tips are, or those make sense, and those are things that have happened to me in my personal life for me to say, "Oh, for real," So you were spot on with those.
Yeah.
Um, Even yesterday, I can remember doing some work. Even for Woman Up, and especially this is my baby. I want to be able to grow and impact more people, and I find myself, my head, Shantae, just sit here. This is my head. And this
Yes.
is me. This is me on TikTok. This is me on Instagram while writing up your
Yes,
questions to send
girl.
you, while sending the link to send you. And this is me on the tablet. This is me on the phone. And I'm like, girl, you need to calm down.
Literally.
Like, you
Me.
said a while ago about your head, like before going to sleep, it needs to shut down. But Shanti, I'm gonna be real honest with you. It's like my brain never shut down. Like never.
Mm-hmm.
All when you sleep, it's
Mm-hmm.
still out there. But those were very, very spot on. And even for me right now, I think I need to take a step back and sit down. But I think, and we've spoken about it in previous episodes, where we feel like the world is running away from us when we take that break. So if we say, all right, we're going to kind of limit our screen time for 1 month and just like focus on self, focus on doing more things outside of that, it's like we feel like the whole world is going to end and nobody's going to remember us, or brands are going to die. Like, what you have to say to people who think that kind of way?
People, okay. So, first of all, your mental and physical health is more important than anything else. If anything run away, go left you wouldn't be alive to experience it if you're not taking care of yourself. You know what I mean? And I feel like, just again, it's a product of the society that we live in now, where everything seems like, oh, we need to do it now. It have to do now, or we need to move quickly. And I know it's very hard to get out of that mindset. And there's a saying that some people say, what's meant for me will be, is for me. And though I don't fully agree with that, there is absolutely truth to the statement in some regard. When you work on yourself, when you take a step back, you get so many more ideas. You get other ways, especially if you take a digital detox, you then find other ways. For me as a digital marketer, other ways to make money. Like, even though the internet is there and you want to see what's going on, there are other vehicles to get the information that you need. There are other vehicles to express yourself that aren't tied to digital. But the the thing with these social media platforms and all of these things is that they're literally made to make you feel like you're missing out. And trust me, you're not. The things that matter, the people that matter are literally physically in your life already. You don't need, and as a digital marketer, there are things that you can do. I mean, I feel like it also goes into being strategic. I mean, and not even just as a digital marketer, as just anybody running a business or looking to run a business that is dependent on digital. There are things that you can do. There are strategies you can put in place that make sure that it seems like you're online, or you can capture those leads or whatever without you physically needing to be there. And I think it's super important to put mechanisms in place that allow you to step back from these things. So whether that is, things like, you would know, Aishiba, like scheduling your posts, if that's a thing that matters for your business. It could be a thing like, putting a structure in place for answering queries, auto replies. Like, there's so many processes and things you can put in place that really, need fast scroll TikTok for, or Instagram for, work and do get things done on social media.
I love that. And that's definitely true. And, for all the girlies out there who, you aren't marketers, but you're trying to build your brand, I would suggest researching some of these technologies, because AI is becoming this big thing in the digital space now, and it can genuinely help you. So,
Yeah.
thank you for that one, Shanti. I didn't even think to even say that. So that's amazing. That's why you're there, That's why
Yes. Listen, that's what we
you're there.
marketing girlies. Second
Period.
for sure. For sure.
Awesome. So I want to bring it back a bit now to some of the younger girls per se, the ones in high school, maybe grade 10 coming up. What are some initial steps that they can probably start to do that digital detox? Because we know say a lot of these young people now, like they're so glued to their phones outside of doing it for work or business. Like that is just their life, and this is the kind of society them grow up in. You understand? So what you have to say, to these younger girls, what can what are some of the initial things that they can do to kind of step back from the phone?
Yeah. Girl, it's so funny that you said that because I'm thinking about when I was in high school. No, not that I'm so old, right? But when I was in high school, there were no iPhones. And so if we were doing any digital detox, is detoxing from sending text messages or MSN Messenger and things were a thing, right? But I think you hit the nail on the head when you said society is just, it's like it's now so ingrained in society to be able to be, have accessible, be accessed, through your devices. Like digital is now just a part of society. And I by no means think that we should get rid of it. Like I feel like there's so many ways digital can propel, you and I think that there are ways that you can use it to your advantage. And I feel like some of the practical ways for like these younger girls and kids to detox would be to start by setting clear goals as to why. Like, why do you need to detox? We all know why. But I feel like once you understand within yourself, you're not just doing it because your mom said so, or you're not just doing it because, your teacher said the internet is bad. If you can sit down or even with your mentor or you appear at, an older person and find out, why should I detox? And, what would be a suitable time frame for me to detox. If you can understand within yourself why, then it will make it easier or it will give you more of an incentive to follow through with this detox. People try to set goals all the time just out of the air, and after day 2 it's like you're not on top. But if you have within your mind why it is, so whether that is for a bigger goal, set a lot of, these kids are doing CXE, like these kids are doing exams that really do require a lot of mental fortitude to get through. Like it's not no baby thing. And so I think that if you have your priorities straight, you understand what your goals are, and you understand, okay, I'm trying to get a 1 in CAPE right now. No said the TikTok not gonna help. Or even if TikTok does help, let's try to find a way to use the tools in a way that is helpful. So setting time limits. iPhone, for example, all devices, Android has it too, have these time limit things where you can say, okay, cool. For Instagram, I only want to be able to spend an hour a day on Instagram. You put in like a time limit and it will shut you off at Instagram after the hour done. There are tools and things like that you can use. And I think young people, especially, when you see things, the triggers like, oh, my screen shut off. All right, cool. Damn, I've been scrolling for too long. All right, cool. Let's just take it back now, and finding other activities outside of social media, outside of your screen to do. I realize it's so funny because I was scrolling TikTok and one of the things that I realized is there are so many people these days who don't have hobbies. People don't have hobbies really. Nobody. Like for me, I love to paint. I like to, like I like to actually take content. Like content is my hobby and my job. But I actually do enjoy recording content, but that's digital screen. So let's talk about hobbies outside of screens. So I like to paint, I like to draw, I like to do these things, I like to go out, left my yard, So if you can come up, like you join a club, find an art club, find some kind of community or group. I mean, just like you have your woman up group here, you have a group of women who are, you know, all like set within their goal. They have their different goals, they have their things they're trying to get to, but you're surrounded by a community of women and people who are, laser focused on their goals, and having other people who you can look up to and join conversation with and can tell you they're, leaning onto like older persons who would have been in the space, who can tell you the dangers of these things, who can keep you, propel you. Having a mentor is so important and can help so much when it comes to detoxing. So have a like a hobby, have a like a mentor or an accountability buddy, so important. Get an app like a screen limiter app. A lot of these phones nowadays actually come with them built in, especially if you have, iPhone and Android devices, they have them built in. Making sure that you're mindful about what you're spending your time on when you are on your phone. So if you've put in a time limit for your digital thing, so you say, all right, 2 hours alone, Margo spend on social media, you'll then know, be more wise about how you're using social media. You'll then say, okay, cool, I can probably scroll for 5 minutes right now, put it down, you know what I mean? And then you're able to kind of see how the effects of you just picking up your phone, how it goes throughout the day. Is just like as soon as you put it down, you pick it up. And your time limit, your apps will show you all of the behaviors that you need for cut, and it will help a lot in that process. And yeah, and I think the last thing that I would mention in terms of just getting it going is to communicate boundaries. So I feel like it's super important, especially for younger ladies. It's harder, it might be peer pressure or whatever, but I think it's super important for you to learn your voice and communicate your boundaries when it comes to your usage of these digital platforms. A lot of people use Instagram to maybe to interact with their community, which is fine, but setting boundaries, like maybe even just your response time. If somebody is messaging, you do not need to answer right now. You could answer in 2 hours when it is your designated screen time. You can answer, at another time. I think this urgency and this fear of missing out and keeps us stuck on our devices. Oh my gosh. And so with that, like as a additional point to that about not really having to respond quickly, turn off your
Mm-hmm.
notifications. Turn off the
That
notifications.
helps. That literally helps.
Girl, turn them off. My social media, as a digital marketer, my social media
Mm-hmm.
notifications have been off for at least 3 years. I do not, girl, I don't. So nope. So my boundary is that I'm not going to answer a message same time. For my clients though, and again, my situation is different because I
Mm-hmm.
manage client platforms, or I have to engage with client platforms sometimes. And so I can't necessarily cut them off during the day, but you have tools that manage these specific platforms that I can log into. No, it's not on my phone. I'm not gonna get the notification and decide, okay, cool, I'm just going to answer this message from this person right now. And of course, that conversation now I would then have to have with my clients, but separate and apart, important for you to just have those boundaries and communicate those boundaries, especially as a young woman coming up in this space. There's so many things you really don't need to be seeing, you don't need to be following, and it's okay to not. So yeah, those are my tips.
Thank you so much for that. I really love how comprehensive your tips are. So people can literally sit down and say, all right, that makes sense. And I always tell the listeners and persons watching, always do your own research. So you get all the information from here, but go ahead and read up more. Maybe something that Shante said, maybe there's a different way that you can do it, and you'll find out based on your own research, right? So I
Mm-hmm.
think that's good for that though, Shante. I really loved where you talk about turning off your notifications, and I think I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
do that.
Mm-hmm.
I think I do that for Instagram, so I don't actually get my Instagram notifications. So anybody who texts me, I just have to go wait, and
Yeah.
I'm not gonna apologize for it. You
Yes.
understand? Me have to set a boundary for real.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm gonna start doing that. So we can start doing things slowly. We might
Of
not,
course.
delete the Instagram for 1 month right off the bat, but we start
Mm-hmm.
with these smaller things
For
and then
sure.
we go up.
Yeah, for
So
sure. And I actually wanted to say, like, you talked about deleting social media. Like, if
mhm.
you feel like that is what you need to do, Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be afraid to just delete the app. There are not a lot of people who can. And I don't think there's any shame in it too, because me, I struggle too. There are times when I do need to do detox. I cannot. Like, I find myself still picking up my phone every time, and I have to catch
Mm-hmm.
myself. I'm like, oh, damn, I'm trying not to do this. So
Yeah.
if deleting the app is what's going to, like, deleting it for like the first whatever week, 2 weeks, whatever is going to start your detox, and then you go into maybe making sure the note when you do, if you download it again, making sure the notifications are off. You're right. I feel like it's important to kind of just phase it in and do it in a way that you feel like you can manage. And just to be completely honest with yourself, if you know, say you cannot leave the app alone, delete the app. Like, you know within yourself that you are weak. We are all weak, right? We all have
Mm-hmm.
weaknesses, and these platforms mess with your mind. They make you feel like mentally you have to be on. So it's not
Mm-hmm.
anything about being strong or being weak or whatever. It's just important for you to just know yourself, know how you operate, be honest within yourself, and not be ashamed about it either.
Agreed. 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 Agreed with that. Thank you so much for sharing that, Shante. I think the last thing I have, because I think we have covered everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I always say we can't always talk about every single thing as it relates to the topic in just one session. But I want to know your final advice that you'd give to our listeners and those who are watching who are considering a digital detox for their mental wellness.
Mm-hmm. I think in terms of, especially if you're doing this for your mental well-being, I think it's very important to kind of keep a note and a track of how you feel when you use social media, when you're using these platforms. What are the feelings that come to you while you're, in this process? I'm big on assessing yourself, to kind of, because we want to build change for the long term. So if you're scrolling on Instagram and you're worse, the people you follow too, important. If you scroll on Instagram and you feel like after you've done, you feel so tired and drained and restless, it might be that, first of all, there might be some stuff on Instagram that you need to just cut out. Like, there are people you might need to unfollow. There are things that you might do. There might be a cleanup that needs to be done. But I think it's super important for you to do these little things to maintain like long-term success. Understand how you feel about social media and your relationship to social media, and doing it from early, especially as a young woman, a girl, and understanding how to set those boundaries from early is super important for just creating long-term, um like, long-term results. Because even if you slip up, you at least would have within your mind just guidance and understanding and guidelines as to why it is you need to detox. Why are you doing this? If you understand from a deeper level, it's easier to execute, like, and continue to execute throughout the rest of your life. I'm thinking, I think it's also super important to assess what your habits are, in terms of your digital usage habits. So if as a student, if the first thing you do when you wake up is plug out your phone, scroll before you even get up for brush your teeth, for get ready for school, nah, girl, is not. No, imagine if that phone could have smelled your breath. Let's be real. Let's be real. Because we don't need to be putting ourselves through this. Honestly, the first thing you need to spend, or the first person you need to spend time with in the morning, is yourself. And me, as a wife, I have two pitney. I have two kids, and I still sometimes find myself, as soon as I wake up, all right, look on the phone. And worse, if it's like the phone is the thing that you look at the time on. If you need to set the time, get a clock. Put it on your bedside. You know what I mean? Don't give yourself an excuse to, keep this bad habit of waking up, picking up your phone. Assess those habits, find out what they are, and then just try to taper them off. So if you've noticed that waking up is one thing, work on that first. If you notice every time you're eating a meal, you have your phone in your hand, work on that next. What are those habits that you feel are contributing to just you feeling antsy and just, what are they? What are digital habits? And then nip them in the bud, or, slowly, cut them out and work on them. And I think it's just super important for you to just use your phone, your device intentionally. Me,
Mhm.
My laptop, I really only use my laptop for work. I really only
Makes
use my laptop
sense.
for work. You know what I mean? And I know not everybody has that luxury too. But if you can intentionally use your devices, you only use your laptop for work. My iPad, I have an iPad. Everybody have devices. My iPad, I use my
Mm-hmm.
iPad for two things. I'll use it for work, but I'll also use it to game. I have games on my iPad. So I have specific uses for my devices so that I'm not just willy-nilly, okay, cool. I'm not using TikTok on my phone, but I'm going on my laptop. Me, TikTok on my laptop, foreign. I've never seen the TikTok app on my laptop. And so I think maybe putting those boundaries in place could be helpful too. So, say your phone is really only for making calls. If you decide social media is not on your phone at all, because some people do
Mm-hmm.
that.
Yeah.
Your phone is just for social for making calls, receiving calls, and sending emails, whatever it is. Those designated things will help too. In the long run, I think. Let me see if I write down anything else. And yeah, I think it's super important, and I think we mentioned it before, to just make time for like offline activities,
Yeah,
activities outside.
definitely.
Yeah, so if that means going to Emancipation Park, go take a walk. You know what I mean? Yes, get into some activities. After school activities are so important. I remember again when I was in school, when I was in high school, even when I was in college, I did sports, and I think that absolutely contributed to me not spending as much time on
Yes.
my devices. Because by the time we reach college, of course, iPhone, they both know. And so at that point, or BBM, oh my God, BBM. But at that point, having like a community of friends, I had a huge friend group. And so we go out, we literally have adventures, we'll go and do things. And I think it's super important for you to just stay locked in with the people within your direct surrounding, because that also helps to keep you mentally grounded in yourself, and it also helps you to not like trail off following some trends and some things that you're not supposed to be a part of. When you have your physical community, it helps you just generally. So yeah, focus on some offline things outside of your phone that you can do to have fun, to relax, to just chill. Go a river, go a beach, go to the library. I don't know, just do something else outside of, if you need to do research, you can find other ways of doing research. Do offline things. Yeah. And I think those are like the key things that come to me when it comes to, maintaining or trying to implement some of those things.
Right. Thank you so much for sharing that. When you see me make a period when you said Emancipation Park, because I think that's probably one of my favorite places along with Hope
Mhm.
Gardens.
Oh my God.
I wish I
Yes.
wish we had more spaces like that to just like walk and yeah, just be amongst nature in that kind of way.
Hmm.
One thing that I've been doing from what year, I blame the digital devices. I have many books, Shanti. I have a lot of books, and the book that I have now that I'm reading now is probably going to be the first book that I finish for the year. You make me start read from January,
Oh gosh,
but the
girl,
but
I
the book them
know
start and them just
to
so a
finish.
part of me was wondering if maybe the author started out strong, but then in the middle them get. But no, it's not the authors. It was me. I'm the problem.
No, but
It's
girl,
me.
girl, but I'm with you, girl. I'm with you. You're right. Because I set a goal to read a certain amount of books per for the year. I'm gonna reach
Mm-hmm.
up to it. But again, but the thing is, it's once you've actually just noticed for yourself, and you can say,
Yes.
say, and then you actively put the action into making the change. I think that's how
Mm-hmm.
that's how we grow. And again,
Yeah.
like, not even being ashamed to share. Like as I say, as a digital marketer, as somebody who's in this space, I struggle. But at the same time, I still know the importance. And so I'm
Yeah.
gonna do it. So it's just for you to understand how important it is and why it's important for you.
Mm-hmm, agreed. So, for all of those probably listening as we come to an end, if you are into reading and you realize that boy, the attention span are dead and you can't finish the books, one of the things that I do, I go to cafes a lot. So along with going to, Emancipation or Hope Gardens. I really love going to cafes. I love the vibe, love the ambiance. So what I normally do when I'm doing the work on the devices, I might carve out maybe like a 30 to 45 minutes to actually read my book there.
Oh, I love
Right?
that.
The cafes I go to always have nice little lighting, so you don't have to worry about a light and say you can't go see the book and the pages, you can. So just carve out if a 10 minutes you want to start with, and then each time you go, you bump it up. And it don't have to be at a cafe, it can be anywhere that you are. A lot of time when I'm in the car going wherever, I also read as well. So you can take those little moments where you don't necessarily have to be on your phone to use it to do things that you might want to. But yeah, that's a little thing. And I know so we can't talk about everything in this session. But Shantae, I want to thank you so much for coming, for saying
Absolutely.
yes. I
For
appreciate
sure.
it.
It's my pleasure, and I absolutely love what you're doing with your community and just empowering women and young girls generally. So I'll absolutely always be a part of anything to uplift women. So to you.
Period. Thank you so much to
Yeah,
all
man.
our listeners, to all who's watching. Thank you so much again, week after week. Y'all are here, y'all are listening, and I appreciate it. I know I promised you we're focusing on mental health and wellness during this season, and I do owe you all a link up, maybe at one of the parks, to just sit down and detox. No phone,
Ah,
no
see
nothing,
there?
just sit down and
Activities,
talk.
offline
Yeah.
activities.
So me and the team, we're still gonna be working on that and seeing, how we can get that done. But thank you again for tuning in, and I will see you in the next episode. Thank you so much, and bye
Building
bye.
a community for all the queen. We fix up your crown when it start to lean. We fix up your crown when it start to lean. We fix up your crown when it start to lean. Creating a community for all the queen. We fix up your crown when it start to lean. Let's women up, the woman up show for you. Women up, women up, women up.